Hey, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research out of beautiful Bermuda, still challenging video lighting connection. You don't want to see my face, you want to see beautiful Bermuda here in the America's Cup Media Center. And right behind me is the starting and finish line of the 35th America's Cup happening. We have races 7 and 8 today. The total score is 4-1. Hopefully I say this correctly. The important thing is we got a bunch of suspense yesterday when Oracle Team USA was able to win race number 6. So the question, of course, is what does an enterprise software analyst like me do at a sports event like this? And there's indeed a lot of technology involved, and things have changed from the perspective of it all being about the water and the sailors and the hulls. If you remember the old America's Cups back in San Diego, where the hulls were super secret. The boats here are catamarans, which are amazing machines. In sailing, it's always how fast can you go towards relative to the speed of wind. These boats can go 3 times the speed of wind, almost 3 times the speed of wind, 50 miles an hour, unbelievable speeds. I spoke to a German reporter who was commenting for German TV here, and this week was a beautiful regatta of the J-class sailing boats, beautiful sailing boats, huge sailing boats, the ones which ran the America's Cup in the past, and he said it was so boring. They were basically sitting on the water once you're used to these fast catamarans, which are competing for the oldest sports trophy in the world, I believe, the America's Cup. But then, what are the takeaways of that, right? Immense technology going into it, and I think sailing, as we know it for the America's Cup, it's not the sailing you and me do on our weekends, but the top end of sailing is being disrupted at the moment. That disruption is very similar to something which we're seeing in enterprise software. The disruption is coming in form of Emirates Team New Zealand using cycles. You can't believe it, you heard it right. Biking is all about being on the road, but now it's happening on the water. And why it's happening on the water? To run these catamarans, you need oil pressure on board, because basically everything, not just the dagger boards and the foils, but also the adjustment of the sails is done through hydraulic pressure, which you have to build up. What was super interesting, they had a briefing over at Oracle Team USA this morning, where they shared the rules allow only 350, now don't mail me on the unit, I think it's bars of pressure. So you can't store that more than 350 bar, which sounds quite a lot, but then you have to realize that what they also shared is when going over the finish line, starting line, the beginning and finish line doesn't matter anymore, but when you go over the starting line, the teams usually have, at least Oracle has, about 210 bar, or 210 of these units. And for running one maneuver, they want to have 190. So if you do the math between that, there's not much room for error. I think they put in some safety and so on, but basically it means you drop from your maximum pressure of 350 and you'll be constantly in trouble trying to get that pressure back. And that pressure can only come back with muscle power. And the traditional way of thinking in sailing is using full winches, right? So you see these huge hulky sailors moving winches from that perspective. The innovation which came from New Zealand was that instead of using the arms, they're using the legs and they're using cyclists. Very famous good cyclists, all the way to an Olympic silver or bronze medal winner in 2010. Who are basically running like a time trial on the track, which you might see 3 bikers behind each other. So that's the big disruption happening, because legs can generate more power. The numbers, which there in some interviews were saying that in peak they can generate 1,000 watts, average they can do 800 watts. Now you compare that what Oracle shared with us today, that their best grinder can do 350 watts average over 20 minutes or 25 minutes, what the race takes like. So you can imagine significantly more power being generated by the legs, but then pros and cons, like in everything when best practices change, right? You used to be grinding with your hands all the time, muscles, machinery, everything set up for that. You have the point which some people at Oracle made it, where they are less stability, you're taller, the grinders are kneeling, the bikers are higher up, You might have tired legs when you have to switch on the other side of the boat if you're a biker. You don't have that when you're a grinder. The bikers say you have more fixed points, right? The grinder barely can stand but has 2 arms, which has to move motion. It's fixation points. The bikers have 5 fixation points. So what we're seeing, and we'll see this race is going on, it's not decided, if best practices are being disrupted. The best lesson learned for the enterprise is you have to keep watching what's happening new and what is interesting, right? We know since a long time that legs can generate more power than arms. This is why humans are runners, or naturally born runners from a last evolutionary standpoint. So that's not a surprise, but how do you fit that in the sailing boat? And how is the sailing world now going to react? How is Oracle going to react to that potential disruption coming from Team New Zealand? That's the first one. So I'm taking a long time here. You can see I'm probably passionate about this. And then rethink organization. Team Oracle is very hierarchically organized. Every decision is made by their skipper, Jimmy Spittle. That's the way how sailing in general works. He has a coach in the sense of a tactician on board, and they debate things. If you listen to the audio, it's very interesting. But at the end of the day, every decision, how to trim the sails, how far to run the daggers, how to put the ship into a certain angle towards the wind, which is important for aerodynamics, all about him. So central control, typical organization. On the flip side, on the New Zealand boat, the skipper Brinsley is only driving the boat in sense of direction where they're going. He has another gentleman, or another sailor, another gentleman, controlling the lift of the boat, the foils of the boat, and another one who's controlling the setting of the sail. So much more automated or much more team-oriented approach of sailing a boat from a New Zealand perspective. If that's going to give them advantage, I'm not enough of a sailor to really say that, but we know taking it over to the enterprise that team-based decisions of more diverse teams are the more lasting, more successful decisions. Third takeaway, play your cards wisely and timely, right? So it's all about how much innovation can you still produce and bring away. If you remember the last America's Cup 34, where New Zealand surprised Oracle by being able to foil downwind, which Oracle had to learn, and Oracle had the faster boat to learn it just in time to come back to the biggest comeback in sports history, if you believe, from 8-1 to a 9-8 win. That's not the case here because the team New Zealand has been smart at unpacking some of their capabilities slowly but steady across the different races, and so it's all about showing up in time, be ready. Team New Zealand only shot in Bermuda in May 2000 of this year, so less than 2 months ago. Compare that with Oracle. I happened to be here in another event in January 2016, and taking the ferry over from to Hamilton, I saw Oracle Team USA practicing already here on the Great Sound in Bermuda. So it's not about how long you're doing something, how good you're doing something, it's that you're showing up in time and you're disrupting it. So that's my 3 takeaways from the America's Cup. Like or not like it, it's time to watch race number 7 or 8. This was Holger Mueller from Constellation Research. Follow me on Twitter, you get lots of tweets, plus like a live event. My Twitter handle is HOLGERMU. Thanks for watching. Cool.